After much searching for instructions that told me how to put this air conditioner bracket on, I couldn't find any. May or may not be my fault. I might have taken it up to the house, but as I recall, they didn't have good instructions anyways. So, but I decided, I did find out that the compressor is marked with C and G, and they go here and back here, C and G, but it doesn't tell you which side of the bracket to be on. I'm going to take this bracket off briefly, because it was a struggle to figure out how it was supposed to go in. But this is the bracket. Apparently it bolts to the compressor on those two bolts plus down here. The way I think I have to do this to get it on with one person is to thread this bolt in here, which is the adjustment bolt, and tighten it at least tight enough so it won't move. And obviously I need a washer there because it doesn't get tight enough to keep it from moving. They tell you which bolts they have and that. They don't tell you where they go. It's just a packing list. No picture, no nothing. Unless I took it up to the house, but it's not in this shop. So without any other instructions, I'm guessing flat washer and lock washer go through this bracket so that it can be adjusted and held firmly. And on top of that, not fall out. I don't know. I'm looking at this, and with these tall valve covers, I may have some tight clearance issues here. It looks like there's quite a bit of adjustment to go here. But that's going to make this tilt way back, and it tells you that you can't have it more than 90 degrees or the oil will leak out. So, you probably can't see the bracket back here, but what has to go in is the bolt goes in there, and then a spacer because of my water pump, or my issue with the timing chain cover. Okay, what I'm hoping I can do is put the air conditioner in and make sure I get the correct tab in there. It says G, so I'm going to try to put it in. push that bolt in. And then this is supposed to get a bolt through here, but it looks like it needs the thickness of this bracket in order to fit properly. Now, without a picture, that's very difficult to do. Oh, I see what's happened here. Yes, that bracket fell out of the way. I want to get this lined up again and tighten that down with a wrench. Looks to be either a 1/2 or a 9/16. 9/16 was sitting out there, so I'll try it first. My goal here is to get this tight enough so that when I try to put the air conditioner in, it doesn't move. I'm really questioning whether there's going to be clearance here, because it's got tabs on all 4 ends, I believe. It does, even though you don't use them all. Making sure that I'm at least showing something in the frame that's useful. There definitely is a tab on the back of this that's going to potentially interfere with my valve cover. At any rate, we're going to try to line up that bolt with that hole. And I got to pull this bolt out. I'm going to have to pull that out before I try to put this in. The other thing, it's no instructions on the back of this. These appear to be sealed, although one looks like it might have a hole in it, but where those connections go appear to be sealed. It doesn't tell you to take that seal off. I don't know whether the fitting it connects to punctures it, or it comes out easy whenever you're not holding a bunch of stuff in your hands. Okay. Make sure I get C and G. That's the bracket they tell me it has to hook into. Okay, that one's on. That is not all the way through. Wow. This is going to be close. get one of these locking nuts under here so that it doesn't fall out. Okay, that's one of those nylon locking nuts. And I think I need to loosen that bolt now to give myself enough wiggle room to get the other bolt in. And that bolt isn't long enough for everything that's got to go through. Not even close. So there's supposed to be two 2-inch bolts and two 3.5-inch bolts. I think the 3.5-inch bolts had to be used to put the compressor bracket onto the headers. So I don't know if there's maybe 2-inch bolts, and maybe what I have is 1.5. I'm going to have to check that out. So that bolt that I had in there looks to be a 1.5. And I find a 2-inch bolt that looks like it's going to be long enough. So I got to back that one out. Put this one in. Fun with cars. And I lost my bracket again. What the heck? Let's try and throw the 1.5-inch in here. Hold the bracket for me, because now that I've taken that bracket loose, cooperating with me. There. Throw a nut on that one too so that I don't lose it. I wonder where the nuts are whenever I'm trying to put them on. Okay, so that should have another 1.5 inches. What I'm trying to do is get it, there's 3 holes in that bracket that all attach to the compressor. Trying to get those all in, or at least 2 in, I should say. And they'll hold it kind of in place. Okay, so that's in. And I'll get a nut on the back of that. I'm glad I decided to put this on first to see if I have clearance for that fuel filter, because what I'm seeing here, I might have to rethink the location of the fuel filter. Okay, that's at least started so that it won't fall out. I've got 3 bolts, one in the back, and the 2 far ones on the compressor side. And now all I have to do is get this one, the 2-inch bolt, through all of this. Okay, what I might have to do here, and I'll do it off camera if that's what I have to do. Oh, no, I got it. This one must go all the way through there. It's through. I need to crawl under and get that bolt I dropped. I was going to tighten these bolts up to bring this bracket perfectly in line with those holes. So it is going to hit, well, it's definitely going to hit the valve cover. And it's not only the tab, it's the compressor itself. So I might run into the same sort of problems in getting a belt for this that I ran into with the alternator, in that once you get it on, well, this appears to have more adjustment than the alternator, so that's good. But for now, I'm going to, it's probably going to take a while because of the awkwardness of where those bolts are, but you could just barely see maybe the top one I was talking about. So those all need to be tightened. I'm going to probably just do that off camera because it might take a while because there's limited space to swing a wrench. Might have to dig out my power ratchet, see if I can fit that in there. So here's where we stand on that. I cannot get a socket on to this end straight because the pulley interferes with it. I can't get, I don't think I can get, maybe I should try it with a ratchet. Best I could do so far, I cannot get a ratcheting wrench on there, but I didn't try a socket. Maybe I can get a socket on there. Let's try that. It'll be a 3/8 socket because the 3/8 ratchet is smaller. The sockets only go up to, I wonder if I can back that off. No, that's not going to go in there. So the best I can do with this is get a hold on this with a box end wrench. I can leave that on there, and then I'm going to have to tighten this. It looks to be 1/6 of a turn at a time to get it tight. The back one I should be able to hold with the wrench, and I should get my power socket in there. So that's not bad. This one is totally out in the open. I can get anything I want on that. But the one back here in the front, I might have to use stubby wrenches on that because I don't know how much of a swing I'll be able to get with a full-sized wrench. So I will be able to tighten these all the way tight. I'm going to have to leave these two down here that actually mount the compressor to the bracket that's attached to the manifold, the main bracket, if you will. I'm going to have to leave that a little bit loose so that there's the ability to move it to adjust it, and that may already be too tight. So, because no, that's probably good. Maybe I can get a ratchet on this one. Hold the other end. Those are the nylon locking bolts, so it's going to go part of the way because after that the nut, or the bolt rather, is pushing the socket off of the nut. So at least it's faster. No, got it all the way. That one I can tighten very tight because it doesn't move. I have to see what I can do underneath it here. I'm suspecting that the pulley's going to be in the way of that one as well. But there's nothing in the bolt on the tab that's down there either, so I should be able to get a ratchet on that if there's room. I may have to pull this up. Let's pull that up and tighten it up so that I don't have to hold it up while I work on that one. Somehow I got my wrench changed to loosen. So again, I can tighten this one over here as tight as I can get it because it doesn't, there's not much wiggle room there, and I can't put a long extension because of that stupid tab that's unused. I'm going to have to get my stubby 9/16 open end to hold that end. Slowly ratchet the nut on because it's maybe one clip. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to shut off the camera since it'll take time, and then, like I said, the one that holds the bottom back here is going to be easy. I can put a deep socket on it and just hold the other end with a wrench, and that'll be easy to tighten. So I'm not going to waste your time watching me go an eighth of a or sixth of a turn at a time. But by the way, the pulleys look like they line up well. I don't know if I mentioned that before with the water pump pulley, which was shimmed out. So looks like the planning that went into how to mount that compressor went well. Okay, I've got those bolts tightened, and I'm going to have more fun with trying to find a belt that works, because they said that most of the time the original belt would work. Well, I have what I believe is the original belt here. At any rate, it's the longest one I have. It's down around the proper pulley on the crankshaft, but I can't get it onto the air conditioning compressor, and it's, well, once it's on the air conditioning compressor, it looks to be a good inch short here to get it up onto the water pump pulley. So that's another issue, but what I found here is that that's as far as the adjustment will go. Hopefully I can get a belt that works at that length or a bit less. Here to have about an inch of play between the valve cover and the air conditioning compressor. So inch of play there is probably closer to 1.5 inches, 2 inches on the belt. So if I can get one that just goes on when it's full back in that position, shortest possible. That's interesting because that's not even all the way as short as it'll go. Something must be too tight. Maybe this bracket here. Let's loosen her up. That's loose. Maybe I need to loosen these ones on the bottom a little more. Oh, there it goes. I don't know if I had it all the way tight before, so let's see what happens if we do this. I can get it on that bracket, that pulley. I think to get it over that one, I need about an inch longer. So with the amount of adjustment I have on here, I think this one might actually work without taking the valve cover off. So there's no way it'll go over that way. Almost looked like I would be able to put it in that water pump pulley first and then get it on here. Again, it's probably an inch too short. So maybe an inch to inch and a half, but I think I'll be able to get one that actually will work with that. Taking off the valve cover. That's a plus. It's maybe a little more complicated taking the valve cover off on this side. I don't know. It's different. You have to deal with the fuel lines, and there will be a lot of electrical connections from the sniper, etc., crossing over that. So now that I've got that on, now I can pull it back all the way and see if there's room to put the fuel pump right behind that. I'm sorry, fuel filter right behind that. So that's what I'm going to be studying next.